The confirmed number of coronavirus cases in Los Angeles County comes to 286,183. The confirmed number of deaths reaches 6,834. Here in Torrance, the total number of confirmed cases is 1,520, with total confirmed deaths at 72. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Ben McCain. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, October 15th. Vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris halts travel plans through the weekend after two people around her test positive for COVID-19. A flight crew member and Harris's communications director, Liz Allen, tested positive for coronavirus. They were with Harris on a flight on October 8th, the day after her debate with Vice President Mike Pence. Campaign officials say Senator Harris and the two others all wore N95 masks, and she was not within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes of either of them. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention defines this as not being in close contact with either person. Before and after the flight, everyone who was on board tested negative. Biden campaign manager Jen O'Malley Dillon says, quote, neither of these people have had contact with Vice President Biden, Senator Harris, or any other staffers since testing positive or in the 48 hours prior to their positive test results. She continues to say that after being with Senator Harris, both individuals attended personal non-campaign events over the past weekend. Under the campaign's strict health protocols, both individuals had to be tested before returning to work, and that's when they tested positive. The protocols set in place by the campaign are intended to help protect the staff and anyone they are in contact with. They also require regular testing while working in person, isolation after time off, and masking and socially distancing while on campaign duties. Harris has taken two tests for COVID-19 since October 8th, including one yesterday, and has tested negative. Still, campaign officials canceled her plans to travel to North Carolina today and will keep her off the road until Monday. Instead of a second presidential debate tonight, President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will hold separate televised town halls. Both presidential candidates are expected to face tough questions from voters, but viewers will have to choose which one to watch live. At 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, President Trump is set to appear on NBC, while Joe Biden will be on ABC. Trump's town hall is scheduled to last 1 hour, and Biden's will be 90 minutes long. These two events were scheduled after the Commission on Presidential Debates canceled tonight's planned town hall-style debate between the two candidates after Trump's coronavirus diagnosis. The commission tried to shift that debate to a virtual format, but President Trump rejected the change. The president's town hall with NBC will be the first time he will be asked to speak at length about his personal experience with COVID-19. Other major topics expected to be discussed tonight include the country's economic state, health care, and the Supreme Court. First Lady Melania Trump is opening up about her personal experience with COVID-19. The White House published her writing on its website, where she shares that her 14-year-old son, Barron Trump, also tested positive for coronavirus. She writes that, quote, luckily, he is a strong teenager and exhibited no symptoms. In one way, I was glad the three of us went through this at the same time so we could take care of one another and spend time together. He has since tested negative. The First Lady goes on to say that she experienced a roller coaster of symptoms, including body aches, a cough, headaches, and extreme fatigue. She also says she opted for vitamins and a healthy diet instead of medicine whenever possible, and expresses her gratitude for those who took care of her. The First Lady says it was an unfamiliar feeling to be the patient instead of a person trying to encourage the nation to stay safe and healthy. She says that this experience helped her to appreciate caretakers and first responders even more. Melania Trump writes that recovering from an illness gives you a lot of time to reflect, and she thought about the hundreds of thousands of people across our country who have been impacted by the coronavirus. She encourages everyone to continue to live the healthiest life they can, and says she's tested negative for the virus and hopes to resume her duties as soon as she can. The First Lady thanks everyone who reached out and offered well wishes and prayers. And she ends her written statement acknowledging how fortunate her family is to have received the kind of care they did. And she says she is thinking of those who are sick or have a loved one who is sick every day. It's the fourth and final day of Judge Amy Coney Barrett's Supreme Court confirmation hearings. The day began with some controversy as Senate Republicans pushed past Democratic objections to schedule a committee vote on her nomination next week. The Senate Judiciary Committee has formally set a panel vote on Judge Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court for Thursday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Democrats protested, but Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says, quote, "We have the votes," and that the full Senate will begin debate on the nominee on October 23rd. Also today, outside witnesses invited by both parties are scheduled to testify. Senate Republicans say Barrett will forge a new and prominent path as a conservative, religious woman who opposes abortion. Meanwhile, witnesses brought on by the Democrats testify about the nominee's potential impact on key decisions involving access to abortion, the Affordable Care Act, and voting rights. The Democrats say Barrett's confirmation would pose a threat to the future of abortion and the 2010 health care law with its coverage for those who have pre-existing medical conditions. President Trump has pressed for the confirmation of Judge Barrett before next month when the presidential election takes place. It's the last day to fill out your 2020 census. The Supreme Court ruled this week to uphold its decision to stop collecting data sooner than its original October 31st deadline. It sets back communities, including those in Los Angeles County, which had joined with civil rights leaders to push back the collection date so more people could participate. They had told the judge that LA County is among the hardest to count in the nation because many residents did not respond online. They warned that stopping the count early would result in extreme inaccuracy. Lawyers for the Trump administration argued, however, that 99% of the thousands of households nationwide had responded. They said the census count needed to end now so census workers can meet the December 31st deadline for providing nationwide data used to divide up seats in the House. The numbers were also used to allocate federal spending. New studies show that your blood type may affect your risk for COVID-19. Growing evidence suggests that it may play a role in the risk of becoming infected with the coronavirus or developing life-threatening complications from it. The findings come from two studies published in the Blood Advances Journal by the American Society of Hematology. In the first study, Denmark researchers reviewed data on more than 473,000 people who tested for COVID-19 from February to July. Slightly more than 7,400 of those tests came back positive. Researchers found that blood type stood out as a potential key difference. They wrote that those with type O blood are less likely to get COVID-19. However, the findings of this study are limited because blood type information was available for only 62% of those who were tested. In the second study, researchers in Canada looked at data from 95 coronavirus patients in Vancouver from February to April. They were all hospitalized in intensive care units. Researchers found that those with type A or AB blood had a higher chance of needing to be put on a ventilator and had longer stays at the ICU. While this information helps shed more light into understanding the virus, it doesn't mean that anyone is totally protected from it or will certainly suffer severe outcomes if they contract COVID-19. Letting the coronavirus spread unchecked to as many people as possible to achieve so-called herd immunity is nonsense and dangerous. That's what the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said during a live Q&A today. Earlier this week, a senior White House official mentioned an online movement called the Great Barrington Declaration, which favors herd immunity. Dr. Fauci says that declaration assumes people are vulnerable to serious illnesses live in facilities where they can be protected. He also says that doesn't work because roughly a third of the people in that population are prone to developing serious side effects from COVID-19, including those who are elderly, obese, or have underlying health conditions. He says, by the time you get to herd immunity, you will have killed a lot of people that could have been avoided. According to the Mayo Clinic, Herd immunity happens when a large portion of a community becomes immune to a disease and makes the further spread of it unlikely. As a result, the entire community becomes protected, not just those who are immune. Herd immunity happens either through infections or a vaccine. Global health experts say that most scientists believe up to 80% of the population needs to be vaccinated or have natural antibodies to achieve herd immunity. Health experts in the U.S. note that the majority of Americans still remain vulnerable to getting COVID-19. Well, the new BRUDER fire in Southern California burned more than 100 acres overnight and forced evacuations for residents in the Redlands area. CAL FIRE tweeted at 2:33 this morning that the fire was at 100 acres more with 30% containment. Officials later say the fire grew to 125 acres. It broke out at BRUDER Lane and Helen Drive south of Redlands. Evacuation orders forced many people out of their homes last night in about a handful of neighborhoods. A 265-person crew is working together to contain the blaze, including a firefighting aircraft that was making drops on the area this morning. Crews are concerned about the fire weather watch that is still in place, saying a little bit of wind and higher temperatures can send hot embers over the fire line. The cause of this fire has not yet been released. It's another hot day here in Los Angeles County. A heat advisory remains in effect until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Expect daytime high temperatures up to 100 degrees in the Hollywood Hills. Overnight temperatures will dip into the 60s. Heat advisory remains in effect until 5 p.m. Friday. The fall heat wave is creating more headaches for those up north. More than 50,000 California utility customers found themselves without power, and others around the state are urged to conserve electricity today. The hot weather is also causing another round of extreme wildfire danger. Red flag warnings were in place for much of the San Francisco Bay Area, which saw hot, dry gusts of up to 55 miles per hour. Those conditions pose a threat of sparking new fires in a region that has already seen some of the worst wildfires in state history. One of the fires burning in California right now is the Creek Fire northeast of Fresno in the Sierra National Forest. It started early last month and has scorched more than 341,000 acres so far. More than 960 people are out fighting the fire, and this week they've got some unexpected encouragement. An owl joined a helicopter pilot mid-flight while crews worked to help extinguish the flames. Sky Aviation calls this an unexplainable and magical miracle. The owl rode shotgun inside the chopper, hanging out with the pilot for several water drops before flying away. We're told there's only one picture of the special guest because, quote, "It's not easy to fly a mission and be a photographer at the same time." LA County has a free COVID-19 safety compliance certificate program. In a briefing this week, county officials encourage businesses and employees to participate in the no-cost program. Its purpose is to help businesses to effectively communicate that they are fully implementing the required COVID-19 protocols set by the LA Department of Public Health. This process will help business owners to follow the required protocols and maintain their operations with as much safety as possible for customers, staff, and visitors. The COVID-19 Safety Compliance Certificate is not required, but it is recommended by the Public Health Department. Businesses that do not have a COVID-19 Safety Compliance Certificate must continue to post the required protocols at all public entrances as required by the county. With COVID-19 comes many uncertainties, but people around the world are getting prepared for one upcoming natural disaster. The Great Shakeout takes place today, and everyone is encouraged to do their part to get ready for a big earthquake. Shakeout.org has specific information for doing this drill during a pandemic. For example, where will you be for your drill? If you're studying or working from home, consider doing it with others via video conferencing. If you're planning an in-person drill, keep safety protocols in mind and make sure to have your mask with you at all times. The most important thing, officials say, is to take part in some way so you know how to drop, cover, and hold on in case of an actual earthquake. A local brewery is wasting no time when it comes to reopening its doors. SMOG City Brewing Company welcomed back its customers for outdoor dining and drinking as soon as breweries were given the green light to do so again. They now have one weekend under their belt and thank their customers for their patience and for paying attention to the new safety regulations. One of the new rules that customers must follow is to make a reservation. Food is also required to be purchased at the same time as a beverage, and SMOG City partnered with a number of food trucks to provide that. Christine Lee met with co-owner Lori Porter during the pandemic to learn about how this small business has been navigating through these uncertain times. You can catch the full story on weekends in Torrance. If your kids are itching to be outside and stay safe, the Torrance South Bay YMCA has a program you may be interested in. They're launching a new program at Wilson Park that focuses on safe outdoor physical education. K through second grade students will meet on Mondays and Wednesdays, and third and fourth and fifth graders will meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45. The program begins November 2nd and ends December 10th. There's a $150 cost per child, but financial assistance is available. If you have any questions about this program, you can email Erin Inaba at ymcala.org. Well, as we head into the weekend, be sure to tune in to Weekends in Torrance. This weekend, we'll introduce you to Newberry Coffee, where you can taste freshly brewed coffee from around the world that's roasted on site. Plus, check out Madrona Marsh and learn about the new safety protocols in place during the pandemic so you and your family can have a safe and enjoyable time. And if you're working from home with your pets, Rhiannon Tretanich shares some ways she keeps her pet Popeye preoccupied while she stays productive. This and much more. Tune in every day this weekend beginning at 2 p.m. You can find us on Spectrum Cable Channel 3, Verizon Fios Channel 31, and streaming on our website as well as on YouTube. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share stories from our community, feel-good pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. Today is Global Hand Washing Day, and with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's more important than ever for everyone to stay safe with clean hands. The Global Advocacy Day is dedicated to increasing awareness and understanding the importance of hand washing with soap as an affordable and effective way to prevent diseases and save lives. You can take part in this movement by posting pictures on social media and using campaign hashtags Global Hand Washing Day and Hand Hygiene for All. What a great way to remind community members to take care of their health. Now, if you have a great story to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 Today. Join us on Monday as Leslie Robbins brings you the latest updates. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.